Welcome to Barbara's Bulletin, the podcast where we bring you the latest news and updates from around the world. I'm your host, Barbara, and I'm excited to share today's top stories with you. We're starting off with a look at some of the major headlines from Asia. The Philippines is reportedly deepening its unofficial defense ties with Taiwan, according to a story from the Japan Times. This development comes as tensions between China and Taiwan continue to escalate, and it's likely to have significant implications for regional security. In other news, the Japanese government has announced plans to tighten visa requirements for business managers in an effort to curb immigration and protect domestic jobs. This move is expected to affect businesses across the country, particularly those that rely on foreign talent. Meanwhile, a new report from the United Nations has warned that Afghanistan under Taliban rule is becoming a safe haven for terrorist organizations, including the Islamic State and Al-Qaeda. The report highlights the growing threat posed by these groups to regional and international security. In economic news, department store sales in Japan have taken a hit, with sales declining 6.20% in July compared to the same time last year. This decline is attributed in part to a decrease in shoppers from abroad, as well as a slump in tax-free sales. Finally, Japanese prefectures are pushing back against the Labor Ministry's minimum wage guidelines, citing concerns about the impact on local businesses and economies. These are just a few of the stories we're following today. We'll be taking a closer look at each of these developments and more throughout the show. Our goal is to provide you with a balanced and informative view of the news without taking sides or promoting any particular agenda. We'll be right back with more of today's top news on Barbara's Bulletin. Welcome back to Barbara's Bulletin. We're continuing our coverage of the latest news and updates from around the world. In this segment, we're shining a spotlight on the ongoing saga of Kilmar Abrego Garcia, an individual who has been at the center of a contentious immigration case. As we've been following this story, Abrego Garcia was recently released from criminal custody in Tennessee, only to be ordered to report to an Immigration and Customs Enforcement (ICE) office in Maryland. His attorneys had received notification that he may be deported to Uganda, a country with which he has no known ties. Now, according to reports, Abrego Garcia has been taken into immigration custody after checking in with ICE at their Baltimore office. His attorney, Simon Sandoval Moshenberg, has stated that his client was detained immediately upon arrival, and that ICE officials would not provide any explanation for the detention or disclose which detention center he would be taken to. It's worth noting that Abrego Garcia had previously rejected a plea deal that would have required him to plead guilty to human smuggling charges in exchange for being deported to Costa Rica. His attorneys have accused the federal government of attempting to coerce their client into accepting a guilty plea by threatening to deport him to East Africa. We want to emphasize that this is a complex and multifaceted issue, with various stakeholders and interests at play. As we continue to follow this story, we will strive to provide balanced and accurate reporting, acknowledging the perspectives of all parties involved. As the situation unfolds, it's essential to consider the broader implications of immigration policies and procedures in the United States. We encourage our listeners to engage in respectful and informed discussions about these critical issues. Stay tuned for our final story of the day, right here on Barbara's Bulletin. Welcome back to Barbara's Bulletin. As we wrap up today's show, we're taking a look at the latest developments from the White House. President Trump is scheduled to sign executive orders aimed at ending cashless bail policies in places like Washington, D.C., and targeting flag burning. This move is part of the administration's efforts to exert pressure over liberal jurisdictions. According to reports, the executive order on cashless bail would threaten to revoke federal funding for cities that do not comply with the new policy. The order would also ask law enforcement officials to work to ensure that people arrested in D.C. are taken into federal rather than local custody.